Hello, welcome to episode 123 of Dissonant Waves, our second episode back in the year 2023.
It's gonna be a weird one, folks.
Yes, one of our infamous weird shit happened right before we started episodes, shit happened hours before we started episodes.
Indeed.
I'm Dominic, I'm here. Only Trix is here tonight.
Yes, and I stipulation. I'm standing outside speaking on my phone because my upstairs neighbors have been banging for 30 minutes.
Yes, your neighbors who you don't want to confront, but I feel like going to New York to confront them for you.
Yes.
But, uh, yeah. We have a lot to talk about. Ritz is out with dust storms creating an illness, unfortunately. But in the
Yes.
meantime, he did choose Crowded House's Woodface and Parannoul's After the Magic to talk about. Trix, you chose, once again, the network's Money Money 2020 Part 2, We Told You So, as well as the Coneheads L.P. 1, aka... where is it?
Where is
AKA
Dominic? It's like 14-year-old hyper fascists or something like that.
14-year-old high school PC-Fascist hype lords rip off Devo for the sake of extorting money from helpless, impressionable Midwestern internet Peoplepunks L.P. And you also chose the Ooze, their self-titled 7-inch EP. Meanwhile, I chose the discography of Dog Park Dissidents, the Sexual and Violent EP, the Risk Homosexual Behavior EP, the ACAB For Cutie EP, and their newest single, Gift Wrap.
Yes.
Where would you like to start?
I guess we should start with our retread, I guess.
Yes, let's once again talk about Money Money 2020 Part 2
2020.
over
Fire
2 years later. So how's it held up?
I think it holds up.
It's incredibly 2020.
It is, but at the same time, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's like a document. It is a primary source of what 2020 was like.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. And like even like the obscure things that just make me laugh, like Jerry Falwell's pool party.
Yeah, like, artists had their COVID albums, and people were like sometimes cool with that. Sometimes the albums weren't good with that because it was all about isolation or whatever. This isn't that. This is literally the network, aka Green Day, being political and going after 2020, especially like Republicans and Republican thought process around COVID and everything
Yeah,
in like really direct ways that like are way more direct than even on like American Idiot.
absolutely. This is like the most punk rock Green Day's ever been.
Yeah, this is the way they should be, and I wish we could talk about our conspiracies with Ritz,
Yes,
because the conspiracy is still true today. That
absolutely. We haven't seen a new Green Day album.
right, like they released Father of All Motherfuckers the same year they put this out.
Yeah.
They made this after that. Who knows? Like it was. I don't even know if this was really development when the album came out, but if not, like
Well, the rumor is that Art of the Deal of the Devil.
yeah, Art of the Deal of the Devil could have been on Father of All. It would have been the best song on there.
It would have been.
But still, here is a whole album that's tailored to a specific time and place. And we listened to it at the time and we loved it. We call it one of the best albums of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know if it holds up to that bar to me now. Like I still think at that time and that place it was. I still quite like it.
Yeah.
I think it goes on a lot long. 25 songs is a lot.
Yeah, but like most of them are stingers and they're all somewhat relevant to the politics of the time. I give it a
And I will give it a pass in the sense that there may never be another network record again.
yeah.
We don't know, but it was 13, 14 years, something like that. 16 years? 17?
16, I think. 16.
Yeah, since the last one, so who knows? But oh god, it just from the beginning, like ignoring the original Money Money 2020, this by itself is just a weird, fun thing that Green Day once did. And just going from the beginning of the prophecy, which is like starts out as this weird, serious thing of in the year of money 2020.
2020.
It just
Yeah,
wraps right into we told you so.
we're right and you're wrong. We're right, we're wrong, and we told you so.
Like that's it just starts out with on a good foot with just laughing at the audience and just going for it,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
it sets up the entire album, and then it goes into like the theory of reality, which is a kind of a basic like what is reality when it doesn't exist anymore. And
yeah,
like that speaks to both like 2020 as a whole of like reality changing and like people's lives being different, but also like the reality of fact and like people having different realities in terms of like conservative people seem to have a different
yeah.
reality than other people do these days.
Like the glitter boxes in schools.
Yes. Oh God, that
My
whole fucking
father
thing.
was talking about that. I thought he thought he believed it for a half second until I reminded him.
Yeah, no, like oh well, there are no litter boxes in schools.
There are no litter boxes in schools.
If there is one, it is because someone placed it there as a joke.
Or
It
there's
is
like a
not
school
sanctioned,
cat.
or there's a pet there.
Yes.
But we move into because we also should mention the Trans Am EP that came out right before this album came out, which had some of the
Yeah.
best songs on there, like
It was
Trans
on the
Am.
day of, wasn't it on like Transgender Day of Remembrance or something?
Yes, which I'm still curious what that was all about.
Yeah, and it's Trans Am, and the EP colors are all of the trans flag.
And what is the chorus?
It's like she's a machine or something like that.
Let's look at the chorus. I think it surprisingly is like very direct. She's who I
Yeah,
am, driving me mad when I'm with her. Trans Am. Very direct.
they're very
But like, that's interesting, isn't it?
they're very much so.
That cannot be a mistake. That
It
cannot be
can't
it.
be.
That like that. If that's like a supportive thing, that's cool. But that's written so directly. I feel like I don't know.
Yeah, and there was all sorts of like gender bending things going along with Billy Joe's character too, which was weird. Like in the music video for Ivanka as a Nazi, his character is portrayed as a woman
Hmm.
for like the first half of it or something.
Now the thing to note here is that on Wikipedia, at least, they do list the writers now of each song
Oh wow.
because obviously in the network they all have stage names like the
Yeah,
Snoo and Fink and Van Gogh, but like it's
yeah,
Billy Joe Armstrong as Fink, Mike Dirnt as Van Gogh, and Trey Cool as the Snoo, and then there's a few others that we don't really
yeah,
know who they are except for Jason White as something. I think Balducci.
yeah. Balducci sounds great.
But Trans Am is credited to Mike Dirnt.
Yeah, and I think it's sung by him too.
Sure. Okay. If it's not
A
Billy
lot,
Joe, I don't know.
oh, well, yeah, a lot of the if you pay attention to the vocals, a lot of them Trey,
You speak up?
Ivanka. Yeah, a lot of the songs are actually recorded by like Trey and Mike. It's like it's about a third split, I'd say even.
That makes sense.
Like, I do know that like Amnesia Vagabond is Van Gogh, that sort of deal.
Yeah. So that that it really goes for it, and then you get into like songs like Fentanyl and like we said
Yeah,
Ivanka is a Nazi. That like that's fucking bold. To just go Ivanka is a
it is.
Nazi. Like
And Ivanka spelled with three K's.
yes, and I think the song goes, "Do you see Eric? Do you see Donald?"
Yeah,
Like in like they're doing like a Sig Heil formation or something like that.
yeah, it's
Does it
lyrics
does
or
it
something like that.
does it go the extra step too? Hold on, I need to check. Um, yes. Do you see Jared? Do you see Kyle? So
Hmm.
Kyle Rittenhouse is even roped into this, which I love.
Yes,
But like, yeah, I where is this in Green Day actual albums? American Idiot was like fun and cute compared to this.
Yeah,
And like they still have jokes about fucking masturbation. Like they have two.
The
They,
Stranger
well,
and
they also have Asphyxia,
Asphyxia, yes.
which they do the
And
David Carradine reference that tells you what the song's about at the end.
there's the song about poppers too.
yeah, that's
You
like the
know,
least. That's like my least favorite song on here. It's so long,
fair enough.
and like they're trying to do like the simplistic, more of like dancey beat because it's like a club thing because you do poppers in the club and all that, and it's queer culture shit. But I don't think that one translated as well, especially like when you compare it to just having an Office reference, Threat Level Midnight.
Yeah,
Like, okay, sure.
I like the sort of subtle criticism of Elon Musk too in Hey.
You come up on that?
The sort of subtle criticism about Elon Musk in Hey Elon.
That's not subtle.
Yeah, well, it could fly under the radar for like most fans, I feel.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the few things that definitely still rings true now, is not just a 2020 thing, is calling out Elon and making him seem like a huge fucking idiot.
Because he is. He just made
Yes.
two-factor authentication on Twitter, a paid feature.
Yep. Um, Digital Black still fucks.
Digital Black does indeed fuck.
Such a great fucking surf line. Holy shit. Um, Art of the Deal with the Devil is still a cool ass song.
Yes, just that like driving, grooving bass line with the simple vocals on top.
Like the thing about this album is that it seems to really go for a lot of like 80s influences to the point that pretty much every song is represented by a different band.
Yeah,
Like a song like Degenerate, I would probably call like a Muse song. Trans Am, you could probably say is like either like a Kavinsky or like a Billy Idol song, depending on
yeah,
what your influence is.
I
Um,
could definitely see that.
uh, Halon, I don't know. That could be that's something.
Yeah, Anka is a Nazi, maybe Devo.
Yeah. Either way, there's a lot of different thing. I was just noting a couple of them as they were happening, but
Yeah,
this is your kind of argument for egg punk. This is an egg punk
yes.
record.
This is an egg punk record for the mainstream.
Yeah, and this is like, in the sense that this is a punk, pop punk, new wave meld mesh.
Yes.
It skews more toward the heavier production than the other ones you've covered this week,
Oh,
but
very much so.
this is like when it can be big budget and cool. And like
Yes.
it's worth noting, of course, that this has not gotten the attention anywhere near a Green Day album has gotten at all,
Oh, no, not at all.
which is almost better because it's like a little secret, and then also like it sucks because you want Green Day to do this more, but also like
Yeah.
I don't know.
It it's the Green Day nerd album.
Yeah,
It's the one like reward you get for being a Green Day nerd.
it's like telling you, yes, we're not terrible yet. We promise. We
Yes.
know what it seems like, but we aren't really that, even though we're calling ourselves that. In the sense,
Yes.
like to put out a fucking album like Father of All, truly, truly,
And we
just baffling.
forgot the drugs.
I was a teenager, of course,
Yeah.
but again, like they gotta get the song for the hockey team. They gotta get the song that they can play on the stage at the Game Awards.
Yep.
And I don't know, like, what, that's just the business part of it. I don't get that. Like, why are they so entrenched in doing the business stuff when they could just do this more? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I struggle with. Like it's fun that it's a little secret thing that we can like geek out about, but also just do it.
Yeah. Like, come on, full time man. It kicks in.
Like, it's not punk if you're not doing it full time like this.
Yeah.
And like the Green Day would have like such a second career
Oh,
if
absolutely.
they went like anarcho punk, which is really
Yeah.
what this like is leaning toward.
Very much so.
It's just like it's just high profile, high budget enough that it can't fully commit,
Yeah,
It's more couched in like its criticism of like Republicans, like something like Respirator going after the anti-masks people and kind of portraying one dying because of the whole COVID thing and talking about
yeah,
hydroxychloroquine and shit.
yeah,
But it's just steps away from being like Burn It to the Ground.
yes. I totally agree.
It's still a cool album. Anything else you want to talk
Very
about
much so.
specifically? Like we're kind of retreading, but it's fun to revisit it as a specifically time-stamped thing.
I just want to say, as a supreme hater of Jerry Falwell and all of his progeny, I fucking love Jerry Falwell Jr.'s Pool Party.
Yeah. Cancer is the New Black. It is also kind of a Devo song now that I think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah. My favorites, Digital Black. Um, the first three songs hit really hard.
they
The
do.
Obviously Theory of Reality, Trans Am. Art of the Deal with the Devil is so fucking good too.
It is. Or even throw in like some love for Tarantula.
Tarantula's fucking great. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that
like
was like
that.
one of the singles too.
There's like 8 singles out of 25
Yeah,
songs. Actually, it's not one of the singles.
it was on the YouTube channel before Trans Am
Oh, it must
and
have
the
been like a
father.
promo.
Yeah, it was a promo song.
Got it. Got it. Uh, yeah, that the vocal harmonies on that one were actually pretty good. Um, yeah. You gotta call Pizzagate for being like the instrumental, childlike, music boxy kind of song,
Yeah,
and then it gets really sci-fi in the end because that's kind of what that whole thing is. A sci-fi, weird, fucked up plot about children.
yeah.
Um, any other favorites you want to talk about?
Uh, nah, it's good album. Good album.
At least favorites still Pop or Punk.
Yeah.
But since we're in this egg punk mode, let's talk about Ooze.
All
And our
right.
let's talk about our journey with Ooze. How about that?
Well, when we first when we got
Oh, you got
so
super far away. Come back.
so when we first finished last week's album off, we're like our episode off, we're like, let's see if we can find a download for the CP. And so we searched and we found a dead end that was an archive of like this entire scene from of Midwestern DIY punk. And it's just completely gone because it was inactive.
Yeah.
And so then we're like, okay. So we check Discogs, and we're like, oh, the publishing house that they went through has a Bandcamp page. And so we went to the Bandcamp page, and we're like, it's not on here. It must have gotten removed. And so then I found the guy's email, and I shot him off an email, and I'm like, hey, what's the deal with this? Why can't we get a hold of it? Thanks for advance. And I, after I sent this email, I purchased like a compilation that had another Ooze track on it from the guy, and I couldn't listen to it.
The Ooze track
So that,
specifically.
yes, the Ooze track specifically, along with a couple others, but like the Ooze track specifically. And so I wake up the next morning, check my email, and we got a response. And it turns out that at the request of the band, it was never published online. So the only place it exists is this one YouTube video that has like 25,000 views.
Yeah. And Ooze belongs to this kind of DIY punk scene that kind of has taken over Northwest Indiana and Chicago area.
Yes.
And that's where you get stuff like the Liquids, Coneheads, which we'll talk about in a minute,
Yes.
and a bunch of others.
Yes.
Like Mark Winter is kind of the guy that seems to revolve around a lot of this, or a lot of it revolves around him. Because he was in
Yeah.
Liquids, he's in Ooze, he's in Coneheads, and
Yeah.
there's
He's one
like
of the three MWs.
yeah, and there's like 15 other names here if you look at his Discogs profile.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all in that. Oh, the cover makes so much more sense now.
Yes. MW1, MW2, and MW3.
For Coneheads, yes,
Yes.
that's amazing.
It took me a minute too. Don't worry.
Well, Mark and Matt and Matthew. I thought that was the fun part. Okay, yeah, cool. But anyway, we have this 5 minute, 6 song EP. I couldn't tell you a lot about each song individually, but I do know that the
Me either.
opening really fucking killed,
Yeah,
and it stayed pretty high quality out throughout.
that it did.
Like this is a tape that exists somewhere. Is pretty much what I think it is at this point.
Record, like a 7-inch record, but yeah.
Oh yes, you're right. It's a 7 inch, literally. It's called a self-titled 7 inch, pretty much.
Yes.
Um, yes, there is a 45 RPM 7 inch, and then there's also a test pressing out there if you're feeling funky.
I think there's only test pressings of that 7-inch available.
Interesting. That could possibly
That's
be.
what that's what the Discogs made it look like.
The ones that are currently for sale are new, never played, and near mint. So I don't know, but they are going
Yeah,
for over $30 without
yeah,
shipping, and they're in euros.
we're not ready to drop that kind of money on this podcast yet.
Like, I would pay more money. I would pay a good amount of money if this was streaming somewhere exclusive or like was downloadable somehow.
Yes.
I would pay a good amount of money if this is like a local Chicago place that I could go to and buy a tape
Yeah, and I
or
would
a seven
also
inch.
lend you a bunch of money for it.
If I had to go to like some obscure record store on the north side of Chicago, I would do it because actually this 7 inch is pretty fucking good.
I think you might have a new series there.
What?
Going to various obscure record stores in Chicago and trying to find obscure acts.
I have done that before. I need to bring the one on that I need to bring on at some point.
Oh boy.
Yes. I'll bring them on eventually. We'll talk about it then. But either way, I actually like this Ooze EP better than the Coneheads and better than Liquids.
Yes, it's more refined in its shittiness, if that makes any sense.
Like it's easy to call it shittiness, but if it feels good and it goes hard, it does the job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shittiness is an aesthetic choice.
Sure. Like Big Angry, No Burn, Slow Zerch, Face Metal, How You Feelin', Feed Drugs. Those are the song titles. That is very fast, loose, quick to the point.
Very, very much so.
We found a Tumblr blog in which, we could kind of follow along with the DIY scene of Chicago of 10 years ago and see, this band toured with a bunch of other bands. And we were we were kind of concerned at first that that they weren't anywhere listed online. Like, is this like a Nazi band or something?
Did we stumble into a Nazi band?
And it's like, they don't seem to be. I don't think they are.
I
Especially,
don't think they are because we found out that they're associated with Liquids, and in the Liquids album I have, there's like an insert that's like basically to the point of Nazi punks fuck off, and
yes.
we're very pro women.
And I believe the Tumblr sub was saying like, "Hey, no phobes."
Yeah.
So they seem to pass the smell check, or at least the ethical smell check,
Yes, the ethical smell check. They might have committed crimes that we don't know about.
or smell crimes that we don't know about.
Yes.
I mean, this is pretty much crust punk, is it not?
It very much is crust punk.
So crust punk, is what it is. I'm very curious about this scene and how much of it still exists,
Yeah.
because this seems like something that was happening just as I was getting into just garage shows in my local scene, and I grew up kind of in the area in which this stuff would have existed. Like, Ooze is just listed as Chicagoland or Chicago, depending on where you look. It is not given to a specific location or anything. So it could be
Yeah.
Elk Grove Village, Illinois. It could be Joliet, for all I know. It could be somewhere closer to me, somewhere farther away.
Yeah.
We do know that they toured. We do know that they existed. The thing about a lot of these bands is that they seem to have existed for a couple handful years and then just disappeared.
Yeah.
Like Ooze here, at least on their Discogs, Their last release was 2015, starting in 2012.
Yeah, 3 years, then dissolved.
Dissolved or just moved on to something else.
Moved on to
That's the hard
something
part.
else, most likely. Might have
Well,
even just been a name change.
name change, member change. It's really hard to really say because we don't
Yeah.
know. Because the other thing too about this scene that it's important to kind of mention here is that they like kind of the experience I think we found with Ooze not wanting to upload stuff is kind of the experience we'll find with a lot of this stuff. They don't want to be found.
Yeah, it's very, like, there's a mystique there.
Yeah, and that's I think intentional in terms of, it doesn't matter who it's really from. It's all about the scene. It's all about the music. But I
Yes.
think there's also, kind of I don't want to be famous off of this. I just want to do this and like live my life.
Yeah.
Like it's like kind of the anti-scene of like the 70s New York punk where there was a bunch of people getting their, hot egos and their names out there and everything. This is just like, nah, I'm going to work at the Denny's and then fuck up the Denny's at night with my fucking shows.
What's up? What the fuck is up, Denny's?
Exactly. It's like Liquids. What has Liquids done? 2016, 28. Oh, they had a album 2021.
Yeah, I think Hot Licks Revenge was like 2020.
Life is Pain, Idiot, released in 2021. 2022, my bad. 2021. Discog says both 2021 and 2022. But who knows?
It was
But
probably like initially released DIY and got
yeah,
picked up.
Hot Licks Revenge is 2018. But this is like one of the few that seems to have continued in some major way.
Yeah.
And Matt Williams, one of the MWs, is in this still. So he seems to be doing all right.
Yeah.
But kind of, I think I'm kind of switch over to the Coneheads. I don't think we have like a favorite or least favorite in this. It's just
I don't think we do.
it's a cool 5 minute little thing.
It is. It's a good view into. It's a good cross section of a scene and like a good taster of the many challenges we have to come.
Yes, and this LP1 from the Coneheads, 14-year-old high school PC-Fascist hype lords, etc., etc. It is the only thing that the Coneheads did that is really on a label.
Yes.
Erste Theke Tonträger, a German record label. And they put out this record, and there's been a couple others that they have self-released, but again, 2014, 2015, that's all the Coneheads has covered. They've not been
Pretty
active.
much.
They've not been active in 8 years, roughly.
No.
They're still listed as existing, I guess, at least on Discogs. Like all three are still members of the band, but that could just because they don't know.
Yeah.
But I think this is kind of a different thing, but also kind of a similar thing. Like they do some different stuff with Coneheads than they do with Ooze. That's a thing too. Like, how the fuck do you keep all of this separated and like in your head of like what band's doing what?
I have a feeling that that's less of a case as time goes on. It's like, oh, this is a song from one of my old bands. We'll pull this out. Or like, oh, this is something that a bass player and this is our project. We're going to pull this out.
I guess, yeah. But for someone like Mark Williams, I'm just like, how the fuck do you write so many songs and like assign them to different things? But like,
Yeah.
this one has some elements of like want to do some synth stuff, like the hack variations 1 and 2. The first one's typical punk thing. Second one's kind of a
Yeah.
synthy thing. And then they do a Psycho Killer cover,
Which is killer.
I mean, for what it is, yeah, it is just them doing Psycho Killer in their style, and they do it.
Yeah.
You think of a dirty, fast punk album doing Psycho Killer, and yeah, and people love this album.
Absolutely. It's
Like it's like a
it's
7.7 on
called that.
Pitchfork. Like Pitchfork fucking reviewed this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And this is actually a compilation we found out of 2 of their earlier tapes, even. So again, were they putting out new music in 2015? Hard to say. It was just their label was putting out their previous tapes. Their other 2015 release, Live at the Woodmar Deli. I don't know if that's actually live or. Or actually, so this live at the Woodmar Deli also is a cover of "Girlfriend Is Better."
Oh, hell yeah.
We should listen to this.
Also, there was a Liquids album that came out this year.
This year?
Yep.
Holy
Came
shit.
out on, it's just called Songs, and it's a 14 song album that is 21 minutes long. And it came out on January 14th.
Please link that later when you can.
And it has John Mellencamp cover.
But not a John Cougar concentration camp cover. Damn.
No.
But yeah, I was kind of hoping when we first listening to the Coneheads that this was truly like some 14-year-olds doing some shit. Doesn't exactly seem to be the case, but
It doesn't.
this does kind of lead us down an interesting rabbit hole of this weird scene that is related to but not exactly anything else we've covered.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we've been finding some inroads with like, Petite League's kind of related to this band, and Grief Leader is kind of related to these other bands, but this is kind of something that's been persisting in a specific area and a specific time, and we're kind of outside of that time a little bit, but it's still recent enough that a lot of these people are still going to be there.
This is the season where we actually bust out the conspiracy board.
And then we'll really start seeing where all these bands went and what they did.
Yes, honestly, that might be something for me to do on like a live stream on the Dissonant Waves YouTube channel or something.
Holy shit. Worth mentioning that Lizard Lady seems to be a Residents cover, or at least written by the Residents, which was a old 70s group.
That's cool.
And then Waste of Space seems to be a song written by Night Fever, which is a Mark Winter, Matt Williams band.
So as I said, the separation becomes shaky at best.
And this one was from 2010, which had a demo and one release.
Yes.
So, supposedly 11 copies of Live Fever by Night Fever exist. All right.
When you assemble them all, it becomes the fucking Infinity Stones of garage punk. I don't know where I was going with that one.
But again, do you really want to talk about specific tracks with this?
There's nothing really specific to talk about. The mystique is more of the charm, and like just it's hard and fast DIY punk recorded in like a McDonald's bathroom and using a trash can as an amplifier, and I love it.
And so far, each one has had their different thing. Like the Liquids have made longer albums with a lot of songs. Coneheads seems to be doing some synth stuff in there. Ooze just seems to be going super fucking hard with super fucking good work for that.
Yes.
Like Ooze is the best of these.
Absolutely.
I don't know who wins in Coneheads versus Liquids though.
That's a good one.
What they bring back the Liquids this year and figure it out.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Other song I want to shout out really quick. I Used to Be a Cheese Puff.
Yeah.
Again, that sounds like something a 14-year-old would write.
And if it is, fuck yeah.
These guys must be like 30, maybe. If they were doing this like 10 years ago.
I'll see what I can find.
If anything, I probably could see what I could find. I might be a little bit more in a circle in which I could probably find some of these people. Maybe.
Probably.
But that's so hard to tell. Who even knows if these are their real names?
Yeah.
But yeah. This is a really interesting corner we can kind of go down if we continue to and want to. The year is wide ahead of us.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else you want to say with this?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. So let's switch gears a little bit. What do you want to talk about next?
Should we stay on the punk scene or should we take a break from it?
No, let's go to the dog park.
Dog Park Dissidents.
Dog Park Dissidents. We found them on the Never Erase compilation we covered late last year that were with Weekend Run Club.
Yes.
And they are a kink positive, sex positive, Puphood dog band
Yeah.
based in New York, New Orleans, and I think a third place as well, Pennsylvania somewhere. What'd you think of them? I'm curious.
They're fun, but they're gimmicky.
They are kind of gimmicky, but I like the gimmick. I really like the
Yeah.
gimmick, and that they've leaned into it more
Yeah.
because their lyrics are super anarcho punk.
Very much so.
Like, and they get more and more. Like the first EP, high risk homosexual behavior. No, sexual and violent. My bad. That has some good songs in it. That kind of starts off with like the political leanings in which they will go down, but it's a little more removed. It's a little more tongue in cheek, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be happy. I don't want to be just like you. Queers and fuck you is all about that. I want to be my own person doing things that make me happy, and you want fucking gay shit to be just assimilated.
Yeah.
And then they have songs like Trans Starship Feminist BDSM Paradise, which kind of intentionally goes over the top and is like imagine a world in which everything is changed and cishet white men are kind of just the extreme minority and they have to suck dick anyway to get anywhere.
That's a banger tune.
Yeah. But like there's a certain kind of like reservedness, or like not reservedness even, but just like a step back for like Rainbow Drones even. Like, yeah, yeah, we fought for the right to serve in the military, and now this is what you get.
Yep.
Rainbow drones with lesbian pilots.
Absolutely.
B stands for bomb and the LGBT. But then you get to High Risk Homosexual Behavior EP, which came next, and you get songs that are a bit more um statement of intent, more kind of going into actual like personal issues versus just societal, touching on various issues that are around us, which is important, of course. But I started to really get into this more directed specific EP in comparison. Because like
Yeah.
Rev Your Motor is a great fucking opener.
It is. It's
Oh my
Fred Schneidery.
god. Yeah, like the lyricism is Fred Schneidery because um yeah, Zach, they kind of just do like the invadey kind of keep the syllables rolling basically
Yeah.
in a rhythm. But this is like kind of like your great example of an anarcho punk song that just like fucking burn it all down, occupy
Yeah.
everything. You know, invade fucking Dick Cheney's offices for fuck's sake. Fucking go postal on the board of ExxonMobil. Literally just something that's here.
Yeah.
That's just shit that's here. Let's get rowdy when the riot cops surrounding moan, oh yes, arrest me, daddy, hit me harder with your nightstick. Like, they're super just going hard into it. Then you have, in comparison, a song like Host, which is more of another Christmas song, I kind of think. Not exactly.
Yeah.
Not like gift wrap,
Not.
but
But
Host is more about, the struggles of being queer and being in families that are not accepting and being unable to host and having nowhere to go because all the queer bars are being shut down. Every place to go is closing or not being something that you can do as a queer person.
yeah.
Highlighting kind of like class struggle and like kind of the systemic problems of being a poor gay versus a rich gay that can go off to Greece or something for a weekend.
Yeah.
I really really grew to like these lyrics a lot and just kind of see how far they would take each EP.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
And then like the songs themselves, like the musicality of it, I think also improves a lot too. Um
Yes, very much so.
Again, like I started talking about Rev Your Motor. Rev Your Motor is a great fucking banging opener because it just sounds like something to rev your motorcycle to.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you're gonna fucking go drag down the highway with your pup hood on, just ready to fuck shit up. Um,
Oh god, I can't wait for this art you're doing.
but yeah, I really got into this band, and I think, and like I was saying, I think Zach Zepper's vocals, they are good. I like what they do. I think, like I've said before, every punk band needs a strong, unique vocalist.
Yeah.
And I think what their vocals do, um, they sometimes sound a mix between SpongeBob and Sonic,
Yeah.
but they also sound exactly what I would think someone who is a pup furry, I believe, who strongly anthropomorphized in a sense would want their voice to be. Like this could
Yeah,
be
I
an
could see that
anthropomorphic dog
definitely.
voice in a sense.
Yeah.
So I think it fucking works. And
It does.
it's a super queer band. It's a super like heavily queer anarcho punk bent. And I've never seen a band go this hard and go this far before. Yeah,
Me either.
that's on me for not doing the research perhaps. But I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by a band that's so openly about their kinks and like what they do with their lives.
Hmm.
And that's why I kind of want to kind of talk about this for a minute before we get to ACAB for Cutie, the most recent EP, because I think this is the pinnacle.
Hmm.
This
The only.
EP from a couple years ago is the best one because it's 5 tracks and each one of them covers something very different but very related.
Yes.
The first song is a quick, fast punk shredder about pronouns. Say your pronouns. He, him. Hello. Hi. And then class struggle, kind of again going back to fighting for queer liberation, and nothing super matters. If you're oh yeah, we get rights and all that, but it doesn't matter if the cops arrest you and you get taken away and we didn't have cash to pay it, right?
Yeah.
That employers can fire you for whatever and just claim anything. It doesn't
Yeah.
fucking matter.
It doesn't.
If there's still injustice in systematic inequality, then what does getting rights to do X, Y, or Z really mean?
Yeah.
It's something to fight for and something to tout at people, but if there is still in real life people suffering and not getting that afforded to them, then it's all just lip service, all just paying a tribute to cishet mainstream society. Be like, yes, we feel good. We gave the gays and the trans people and everyone else the rights. Oh, great. Now we can move on. Not really.
Yeah.
And so there's an anger here. There is a wanting to burn it down, but also fight in more violent, specific, real ways to actually have the right to be themselves and just live their lives.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And really, like this kind of goes into then the other kind of tracks here, Good Boy and Bag Dog, because this is all about living the pup life. This is
Yes.
this is full on just Good Boy is just a song that explains what pup play is about.
Yeah.
It is about kind of using that as a using an idea of like pretending that you're a puppy, that you are into this stuff is kind of like it can be using it as a mental defense mechanism to kind of get rid of anxiety and worry in yourself and kind of reset or be in a place that makes you happier or being in a mode that makes you more at ease. And I think that's super fascinating.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think it's a really touching song that really sets it up, explains it, and kind of is also done in a way that's kind of a love ballad in terms of like an alpha talking to their sub, a sense of like, this is why I'm here for you, this is why you're here for me.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see this kind of play out in a music scene at all.
It is very interesting.
And then kind of Bad Dog kind of takes this and runs with it in the other sense of like kind of a call out to all, like, fuck with me, you fuck with my pack. I'm gonna take you down. I'm gonna train you how to be a bad dog, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like having the bark and putting up the bite to go with it.
Yeah.
And then the EP ends with fucking RuPaul's Frack Race, which is a whole other topic entirely, going just after
Oh my
fucking
god.
RuPaul and her hypocrisy.
Yeah. Go after RuPaul.
Because RuPaul is a big fan of fracking, and
Yep.
lots of
She's
gays
got a
and
whole rant.
queers
Very
pretend
funny.
not to care.
Yep.
Because she's going to be dead by the time that the consequences of her actions come down on us, but they will still be there. Fracking is a
Yeah.
major detriment to the environment.
Please don't frack, y'all.
She makes a lot of money from it.
Yeah.
And I wish Ritz was here to kind of balance us out so I could hear him kind of. I feel like he would push back on a lot of this a little bit, but
Yeah, I think he would too. Like, we should read his thoughts.
yeah, once we finish up here, I want to get into his thoughts a little bit before we kind of move on to his own picks.
Yeah,
But I really love the way that these EPs evolve over time and how Dog Park gets really, really good and better as a band. Because like ACAB For Cutie is kind of the moment where they get more people in more often. Like they've then fully gotten into like I think they're 5 people now, but here they
yes,
were kind of 3, 4 different people than now. But Gift Wrap, their most recent single from December, it's kind of the new band debut.
gotcha.
Yeah, it's this is where you get now Zach Zepper, John Greco, Joe Bove, Zeke Xander, and Skylar Stravinsky. Like any of those wrong, I do apologize.
Hmm.
But Gift Wrap is a really interesting song too, because this is kind of going into queer history in a sense of, kind of narrating a person's discovery of different aspects of queer life. And, I met this person at this place and they taught me this. I met this person at this place and they taught me this.
Yeah,
And it transforms into kind of this picture of a holiday scene in which, the person in, I don't know if it's the singer or just someone in the song, kind of having a chosen family of queer people, several boyfriends, it's a place where people crash. The line is, let's blow up an air mattress in the living room, pile 7, 8 they, thems, yay high, everybody spoons. It's a communal place. It's a place of found family. And it's just you're celebrating with each other. You're spending the holidays together. You're fucking eating beef lo mein from coffee mugs, so not everything is perfect. But you're happy because you chose that family.
yeah,
I think that's really really cool. I really like
it is.
that. I think there's a lot of the lyrics do a lot here, and they are consistently good, and they just get more and more specific as time goes on. Um, I really love this band. I really come to really like them a lot.
I like them too. I don't think.
You come back on that? You're couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I like them too. I don't know if I appreciate them as much as I do, as I am kind of removed from the kink aspect of it.
You're kind of what from the King aspect of it,
Um, Being like an asexual and all that,
right?
but
I mean,
it is very interesting.
it is worth mentioning, of course, that sexuality and kink is its own relationship.
Oh yeah,
There are plenty of kinky asexuals out there.
there. I am just a very boring, like sex neutral. Like, yeah, we could have sex, or we could go eat barbecue ribs after taking some edibles.
That's
That's
very
where I'm at.
that's very fair. I respect that completely.
Yeah.
But of course, the other thing to mention here is that we had Coneheads do a cover of Psycho Killer. We
Yes.
have Dog Park Dissidents doing a cover of Toxic by Britney Spears.
It's an okay cover.
It's all right. It rises above being a karaoke thing, which is the important thing.
Yes. I will say the guitar riff sounds a little sloppy.
I guess I didn't really pay attention to that as much, but I can kind of see it. Maybe it stumbles a little bit, but for for a band like this covering Toxic and going for it, I think they did an all right job, especially because they started throwing in some like gutturalness into it, some fry shit, which I
Yeah.
thought was a really nice improvement, kind of making it more their own. But yeah, I fascinated by this band. I really look forward to what they do next. I think an album is on the way.
That's good. I
I
would
yeah,
appreciate an album from them.
I would love to know what they can do with an album. There's a lot of storytelling they can do if they want to go that way. There's a lot of politics and stuff they can do if they want to go that way. They could really structure it in a lot of interesting ways.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it'd be all new material, but who knows?
Yes. Who knows?
But even if it isn't all new material, they could reuse some of their songs to really interesting effect if they are planning on like going for a grouping of topics or like a theme of some sort.
Yeah.
So I super recommend the Heart Dissidents. And yeah, ACAB for Cutie is better than High Risk Homosexual Behavior, which is better than Sexual and Violent. The only songs at all I think I really did not like super much. Like the Toxic cover is fun. I like it. It's not their best song.
Fair.
So
I couldn't really tell you favorites or least favorites. Well, I guess I could say favorites. I guess I really did enjoy the transgender.
you're disappearing again.
I don't really have any least favorites, but I did enjoy
You enjoyed what?
transgender, whatever it was.
Trans Starship Feminist BDSM Paradise?
Yeah, you're right. That one.
Yeah, that might be my least favorite, only because I do not like the way in which the lyrics are spilling out all over the melody. Like
Fair enough.
they are really struggling to keep it all together and have all the words fit in anywhere, which I think is kind of a like a aspect of the song, like that's meant to be there, but it does not work as well for me. And I also like I think ACAP for Cutie is the best EP they have. Even then, I think RuPaul's Frack Race, as fun as it is my least favorite on that.
I can see that. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me a lot of the Home Is Where I Became Birds thing, in that the first set of songs super cool, super good, and then it ends in This Old Country,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the least favorite.
I've come to really enjoy the old country.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, so um, yeah, A Capricorn is my favorite. I like Good Boy. Good Boy's such a good song. Oh my god. Pronouns is a fun song. Class Struggle is a good song. Bad Dog's also really fun. Like this whole EP is fantastic. I like Rev Your Motor off High Risk Homosexual Behavior, and Sexual and Violent has Queer as in Fuck You, and Rainbow Jones is kind of fun too.
Yeah.
Get Rap I also want to shout out for being a cool song, even though I don't think the melody is as good as some of the others.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Dog Park Dissidents? I mostly did the talking here.
I got nothing. I just kind of let you.
Let me go. You unleashed a dog. Well, so shall we get into some things Ritz said?
Yeah, let's get into some Ritz discussion.
Yes. Ritz was at least sure to give thoughts on things. Let's start by reading the things that he talked about. He did not listen to Coneheads or Ooze. That's fine.
Yeah.
He dubbed the network, Ritz says, this is one of the albums of all time. Enjoyed it more than all Green Day I listened to for this podcast. However, the album dragged on in the second half. The stuff off the Trans Am EP was the best off the album. Doesn't suck. Didn't love it.
Yeah. That sounds exactly like what he would say, just short and condensed.
I kind of hoped he would like it more.
I did too, but I knew that he wasn't gonna like it as much as we did.
Yeah. Dog Park, he says, each EP was distinguishable from each other, which is great for such a young band, and after listening to Sarcasm earlier this year, I can safely say this is a much stronger discography from a never erased artist. Still, the highlights were the lyrics, such as the line I posted before, and the vocals were okay, I guess. They didn't really grab me, same with the instruments, which is fine. Like, Network is number 4, Dog Park is number 3 for Ritz, so, like,
yes.
He's giving praise and criticism at the same time because he's not as strong about those as he is about the other two things we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
Which, you want to start with his number 2?
Yeah.
What was that? Crowded House.
Yes.
Woodface.
Yeah, indeed. It's an album.
You're really breaking up.
It's an album. I don't really have.
You don't really.
One of those ones. It was one of those ones that didn't grab me.
That's fair. Of Crowded House, Ritz says of Woodface, the album isn't timeless in its instrumentation. It's arguably not even that impressive for its time. But the songwriting on this album stands to this day. I've already talked about Fall at Your Feet, but songs like Chocolate Cake, It's Only Natural, and 4 Seasons in One Day are other classics in the Finn Bros discography. The second half of this album isn't much different to the first half, but the storytelling is just as interesting. which I think a lot of that is fair.
Yeah,
I also think there is a good amount of variety in this album, which I quite liked. This is the
yeah.
first time we've this is the first time we've covered the Finn brothers. Actually, we did a compilation that was like a tribute to them, but this is the first time we've covered their songs by them. And
yeah,
there's definitely moments I noticed like, oh wow, when they go for this, they go for this. Like, Chocolate Cake is kind of a almost like a Latin pop esque song,
yeah,
and Chocolate Cake is such a fun song. I actually really like it. But then like a song like All I Ask is kind of like a loungy kind of sadder, somber tone, and it's kind of like a really dramatic thing. Like I know in Australia they were using it in like AIDS commercials for a long time.
yeah,
So it's kind of that kind of tone, right?
yeah,
So there is a variety going on, and but a lot of it too is kind of that early '90s jangle guitar kind of, not world music necessarily, but if you told me this is an Australian band, I would definitely believe you.
yeah.
I'm not into Fall at Your Feet, Weather with You. I think Four Seasons in One Day was kind of a fun song, but the songs that stood out to me, the ones that were like the most different.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
You could definitely,
I can agree with you.
yeah, yeah. It's not something I went back to a super much in this week. Like I did my required listening, and that was about it. Like some of the stuff I listened to a lot more. This was probably the thing I listened to the least. Because like, yeah, it was there. It was decent for what it was, and it went on.
All right.
I admire some aspects of it quite a bit. I think Chocolate Cake's a fun bop.
Yeah,
Um, a couple of the others I really liked. All I Ask I think is really great. Four Seasons in One Day is also fun. A song I did not like was probably Weather with You. I did not like Fall at Your Feet as much. Whispers and Moans. Kind of the ones in the middle there kind of just felt like early '90s rock guitar pop was not my jam.
fair.
Fair enough, you said.
Yeah.
All right. What about you? Any songs you want to highlight or dislike?
I got nothing in particular.
Nothing in
It,
particular. This
it
is
was
your.
just an alright album,
Was it a blender?
really, but it's just like it's an album that like I don't see myself coming back to.
That's, yeah. I'll say that. I might come back to Chocolate Cake and All I Ask. They're very opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of style and tone, but they're fun in different ways.
Yeah.
But for us, at least, the big thing we need to talk about now is Parannoul's After the Magic.
I
The
think this
new,
was his best work.
yes, Parannoul's follow up to See the Next Part of the Dream, an album that we kind of all fell in love with a bit in 2021. Of this album, Ritz says, definitely a complete change in sound, more towards post rock now that the shoegaze emo than the shoegaze emo To See the Next Part of the Dream had. Also seems the production has allowed the instruments to be clean and glossy. The album doesn't have as much memorable moments as To See the Next Part of the Dream, but it's arguably a lot more of an album. Cool to see Fantano rate it highly as well. Absolute strong start to 2023.
This is just a really fun album.
Yeah, it's another hour, and whereas To See the Next Part of the Dream is kind of a more dark, somber, kind of depressing, record. Like Evangelion was a big reference point for that one.
Yeah.
This is a lot more positive, and if not necessarily happy, but like musically brighter, like more positive, like guitar tones and piano tones. Like really trying to evoke like a '90s alt band, but also like a not like a Christian band or anything, but like closer to Josh Groban music in a weird sense.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's a weird mix of an album that I honestly don't know fully how I feel about it. It's really complex. Like the See the Next Part of a Dream, I remember loving it first and having it kind of fade and ebb away as the year went on because I loved Beautiful World, and then that was kind of it after a while.
Yeah.
The other songs were whatever. This one, there isn't quite anything to me that is as standout as Beautiful World, but that's also kind of a benefit because more of the songs stand out and I don't have to like be as focused on one and kind of have more of the album soak with me.
Yeah,
That said, there are songs like the album starts out really well with Polaris into Insomnia into Arrival. Is Arrival especially is just really good at like that post rock just shoegazy. Let's do some riffs. Let's have it go and go and go and go and repeat, and you're still getting drawn into it as it gets more intense as smaller subtle elements are changing over time with the beat and the melody and the kind of the little things you will hear if you listen close enough.
yeah,
And then and Parannoul's really good about the build ups and having things explode into really satisfying, harmonious, just amazing moments.
yeah. He's exceptionally good at like orchestral post-punk shoegazy sounding stuff.
And like, yeah, strings are in this, horns are in this, and it all fits. I believe a lot of it's still probably plugins, but there's still definitely
Yeah,
stuff that's live instrumentation too. And it's
yes,
all pretty much him. Like there's some aspects that are not him, but he's still doing a lot of it by himself, it seems. And this is like this is the album that he wanted. It is not what you the quote is not what you expected, but what I always wanted.
yeah. Which good for him.
So what else do you like about it?
It it's just more Parannoul in a way that wasn't expected, but is very welcome. And this is just an album I can see myself coming back to a whole lot.
Yeah, I
There's a
wasn't.
lot to listen to.
Oh, what was that?
There's a lot to unpack and sort of re-listen to.
Yes, there's a lot to re-listen to, and that's the thing I'm excited about. Is that I wasn't sure if I was gonna want to do that, but
Mhm.
listening to it more, I was started thinking about it more, and it's like I want to listen to that song. I want to listen to Arrival again. I want to listen to how Rival goes into We Shine at Night because some really great bridging moments too.
Yeah,
Um, and so this album slowly, I'm not done grappling with it, but it's definitely yeah, all right.
yeah, that was whipped cream. I'm surprised the mic picked that up. I was just squirting some coconut whipped cream into my mouth.
uh,
And I didn't expect my shitty mic to pick that up.
oh boy. But yeah, like it's Paramount breaking out of a box that he wasn't super in, but it's more of proving himself as like a composer in a sense. I think.
Yes.
Like I view Parannoul more as a composer than most like rock musicians. I think for some reason.
No, I totally agree. I get where you're coming from.
I think that's because we know that a lot of his music is like computer composition. That's not necessarily always him just noodling around with like a guitar and a drum kit and everything live. He is kind of
Yeah,
developing these things in almost like as if he's writing them, but on a computer he's writing them in a way in which he can actually listen to them.
yeah, and I tried to record an EP entirely in Mario Paint Composer, and I gave up after like half of the first bass line. And mad respect for anybody who deals with like piano rolls and all that shit.
Because like there's so much there's the piano sounds so nice in this too.
Yeah.
Like it's super bright and super like the present. Oh my god. The thing I wanted to mention too, the fucking drums in this album are just fucking phenomenal.
Oh,
They're mixed in such a good way that you can hear the drums and you can hear like what's going on and it sounds like it's a real thing. And maybe it's a real thing this time, but I still think a lot of it's still probably still like the loops and stuff. But
yeah. Like there's some really, really good drum plugins.
yes. And Paranol has kind of been exploring a lot. He's done work with like Agent Glow and things like that. And Agent Glow's here playing guitar on Imagination, and there's other people from other groups and things that have come on here, which is really cool. And kind of, Paranol's still kind of this anonymous composer type deal, but he's still collaborating and doing things that
Yeah.
prove he's still part of a community, even though he wants to keep it cloistered to some degree.
The Daft Punk of fifth wave, you know.
or the network. We don't know.
Yeah.
That being said, I really, really like the cover art.
Yeah, it is very pretty.
Yes, just the gorgeous winter scene. It's in a park somewhere, presumably. Someone's just kind of standing there. They're kind of obscured by the snow and the white brightness, but you can kind of
It's a
make them
very
out.
overexposed photo.
Yeah, very overexposed, very colorful still. Lots of blues and yellows and oranges and greens.
Yeah.
Just very
That
satisfying.
might be Parannoul for all
What was that?
we Parannoul, we know.
Didn't come through.
That might be Parannoul for all we know.
That might be Parannoul, and it's like the opposite of something like the scene in Next Part of the Dream, which was kind of a cartoon drawing of a movie still in a way.
Yeah.
And it was a very blue sky, kind of summery, and this is very wintry. So, like in a sense, kind of telegraphing, hey, this is going to be the opposite of what you might be expecting in some ways.
Absolutely.
Um, I don't know if this is my favorite of the week, but it's I need to sit down more with this album and really kind of consider it as a work. I feel like
You
a
need
week
to
wasn't a
digest.
yeah, a week was not enough for me, but it was really interesting and really different and a delight in that sense of this is not just there's something that's really uh magnanimous about this. There's something that's really high class art about this. Really something in that a word along those lines that makes it feel different than just another release by like even like Home Is Where or something.
Yeah.
Like this feels like a cut above in a way.
Yeah. Like I almost want to say the word Grammy bait, but in like a positive way.
Yeah. Like this feels important in a way. And kind of going back to that composer thing, I feel like I'm like encountering a composer's newest work that's like really complex and like this gorgeous, gorgeous piece. And there's something about it that excites me than most of his competition at the moment.
Absolutely.
Even if I can't fully give all of my thoughts on each individual song, like I moments on Arrival and Insomnia brought me to tears, definitely. But like, there's something about just gotta listen to it more and kind of just just absorb it more. But,
Yeah.
um, anything else you really want to touch on with this?
No, I feel like we've covered everything.
You let me do most of the talking. I'm sorry.
No, I feel like we've covered everything.
That's fair. Yeah. Favorites: Insomnia, Arrival, Polaris. Shining Knight's pretty good too. Uh,
Yeah.
the second half might be a little bit weaker for me. I don't know fully. Something like
I
Blossom.
think it's pretty strong all the way through.
Okay. Maybe Imagination might be my least favorite. I don't know. But it's fascinating.
Yeah. It's an album worth listening to. If
Oh, yeah.
like honestly, if you're gonna listen to one album from this week, listen to Parannoul.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah. Well, that brings us down to our rankings.
All right, I can go first.
Sure, I still have to think about this a little bit.
Uh, yeah, going to throw down my number five.
Your what? Your number five, you said?
Yes, as Dog Park Dissidents.
Your number five is Dog Park Dissidents, okay?
And that's not because I didn't like it. It's just that I think actually no, I'm gonna change number five to Crowded House.
You what?
Number five is actually Crowded House.
Number
Changed it.
five is Crowded House, okay? Number four is Dog
And
Park.
Dog Park Dissidents. Then I'm going to throw down the EPs of Ooze and Coneheads, sort of on the same page because they're kind of the same band in a way.
Yeah.
And number two, I'm gonna put at the network. Number one is Parannoul.
Okay, so this one I'm going to actually do EP and album by EP and album instead of the groupings of the bands because it's important this time for me a little bit.
Understandable.
To me, the worst of the week is Coneheads. It's not a bad album. It just doesn't stand out as much as the others do. After that, I would probably put Crowded House. Um, then Ooze. Then I want to do Sexual and Violent. Um, then we'll do High Risk Homosexual Behavior. Then, um, then The Network. Then Parannoul. Then ACAB For Cutie is, I think, the best thing of the week.
All right.
ACAB For Cutie is a really good EP. I kind of wish we listened to it in 2021. I think there's a
Yeah.
chance I would have liked it more than I Became Birds.
Oh, those are some words.
Yes, I guess they are. I wonder how that would have gone, but that's not something we can go back to, unfortunately. We can compare
Yeah.
them directly now, but not back then.
Well, maybe this year we'll get a new Dog
We get a
Park
new,
Dissidents album and a new
we get a Dog Park Dissidents album and maybe a blah, 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 blah,
is where.
Almost Wear album. Yes, we'll see.
Yeah.
And to reiterate, Ritz's rankings, it is number 5 going to be. Well, number 4 is The Network, number 3 is Dog Park, number 2 is Crowded House, number 1 is Parannoul, did not listen to Ooze, did not listen to Coneheads.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about next week.
All right.
I'll go first since I have announced my pick already. Since Ritz is not here,
Yeah.
my pick
Still
is
hasn't
going
given it to us.
in March of 2020. Once upon a time, Dog Park Dissidents was supposed to play a show with Against Me. Because of COVID, it did not happen. In light of this, I have decided, as a show of just sympathy and appreciation and empathy, all of those, we're going to cover the Against Me live album 23 Live Sex Acts.
Okay. I am going to do an album and an EP. This is just me kind of doing popular shit from.
You doing popular shit?
Yeah, some more popular indie pop.
You're coming out.
More popular like indie pop sort of stuff, like stuff that gets plays.
Okay, like indie pop praised stuff. Okay.
Uh, Doing The Boredom Keeps Me Up at Night, Deluxe Edition by Disco Inc.
The Boredom Keeps Me Up at Night Deluxe Edition by Disco Inc.
Yes, and Phone Boys. I think it is. Yep, Phone Boy self-titled from 2021.
What is the band?
Phone Boy.
Phonable?
Yes, one word.
So, what was the name of that Disco Inc. album again?
The fuck. The Darkness Keeps Me Up at Night.
Darkness Keeps Me Up at Night. And Phonable self-titled.
Yep.
Okay. And Ritz has chosen the debut studio album by the band Mom Jeans, Best Buds. Okay, so that means, okay, I once again, to kind of keep this, so I hope everyone can follow along. I hope I can follow along. Disco Inc.'s The Darkness Keeps Me Up at Night, Deluxe Edition. The Phone Ballet self-titled.
I posted both of them in.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Oh, Phone Boy.
Yes.
The boredom keeps me up at night, not the darkness.
Yeah, my bad. I'm tired. It's 2:30. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning here.
So Disco Inc.'s The Boredom Keeps Me Up at Night Deluxe Edition and the Phone Boys self-titled. This is the this is the trials and tribulations of the setup we have. Unfortunately, I apologize.
Sound better next week.
Hopefully. Best Buds by Mom Jeans, and 23 Live Sex Acts by Against Me, the live album. And with that, that'll do it for Dissonant Waves this week. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Dominic. You can catch me online at DACICHOCKI on Twitter and on YouTube, I guess, if you want to follow me, Dominic Jacogi, but there's nothing really there to follow.
Ritz's stuff is on like Ritalin for Kids at github.io,
Yeah,
Bandcamp and whatnot.
it's
You can
all linked
follow
below.
me. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm gonna just hurry this shit up because my phone is about to die. 1%.
At
Check
procrastinate
us out.
underscore.
Yeah, check us out.
At
Space.
procrastinate underscore. Buy Dissonant Waves merch, dissonantwave.space.
Buy our clock.
Buy our clock, buy our shower curtain, Dissonant Waves on Twitter as well. Links are all below. That's gonna be it for us. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Good morning.
What day is it?
151 or 251 for you.
Yeah.
Bye.